It's not only asking the Irish banks, by the way, it's asking all the banks that are involved in the situation of a financial crisis in Europe. And what we are doing is getting the plans from the different governments for the rescue aid, that is state aid, and state aid is taxpayers' money, to be approved. But it is always only approved when we can make the deal that after 6 months there will be a new viable business model for that bank that is getting taxpayers' money at the table. And that business model, that viable business model, and not too much state aid involved in it, and with the absolutely requirement that it's not disturbing the competition too much.
You have said recently during an address to the OECD that you think it would be not a good solution for the future economic health of countries if they allow their banks to become too dependent on government subsidies and for the governments themselves to be, in your view, addicted to banks. Yet that's exactly what we seem to be doing in this country here.
It is, by the way, not allowed. So state aid is forbidden, and that is in the Treaty of Rome. So that is, so to say, our Bible of the European Union. It is forbidden to give state aid. And the line is going on and is saying it is only allowed when it is a medicine for market failure, and then it is only for a short period of time, and then it's only allowed when it's not disturbing competition too much. And that is exactly the line that was already taken by the founders of Europe. That is still a very wise line, and that we still have to live after.
But if you take the Irish case, for example, we are giving state aid at the moment to our banks.
Absolutely. That in itself is allowed, but it should be followed by a restructuring exercise, and that operation needs to be absolutely aware of a viable business model, and again not with a too much distortion of the competition, and again for a short period. So we have to act, and that is where the Minister of Finance and I myself are discussing about.
But are you satisfied, Commissioner, that the Irish are playing by these rules? Because the Irish public are very confused about the plans at the moment underfoot by the government to rescue the banks. I'm sure you're aware there's this body that is being set up to take some of the toxic debts from the banks over into it. And people are very concerned in this country that we're going to end up as a public with debts of tens of billions to rescue these banks.
I'm aware of a lot of doubts, and not only in Ireland, by the way. And therefore it is main that we are absolutely very specific on what the future of those banks are. What we are aware at this moment, that banks are not doing what they should do, lending and deposits. And as long as there is not the trust that the banks are doing what they should, and that they, for whatever reason, are not willing or able to do that, we have a problem in the economy. And small and medium-sized enterprises who are asking for a loan and are not getting it, that's not only a very negative point for themselves, but it is bad for our economy in Ireland, in all the other member states. So what we have in mind is there should be a operation to restructure the financial sector, and therefore it's absolutely a must that there is a solution found for the bad assets, so to say. And in Ireland, the government has taken the NAMA solution. It, of course, depends completely on how it is dealt with, what the price is of such a construction, for you are talking about bad assets. One thing is absolutely sure: if we are not finding a solution for the bad assets, it will take far too long, and then we are really in trouble.
But is it the case, Commissioner, that the Irish government could legislate for NAMA and set it in place, and then a commissioner like yourself in a very important portfolio like competition could turn around and tell our Taoiseach and our Minister for Finance that the regulations haven't been properly adhered to as far as EU competition and fair trade is concerned?
We are in close contact with your government, so we are really doing our utmost to give the government of Ireland all the information that they need, what they have to do. On the other hand, it is a two-way traffic. We need all the information that we badly need for coming to a decision that could be an approval. Having said that, it is so important that the banks, the bankers, yes, are not thinking that they can do what they did, for that is absolutely no reality anymore. And they should be aware that a slim-off operation is absolutely a must for most of them, and that anyhow their attitude and their mindset has to be changed. By the way, not only bankers, but quite a number of people who thought that they could do what can't be done in the situation of today.
Yes, you're absolutely right, because I think, again, people in this country are bowled over by the apparent arrogance of the bankers, and it took a long time for some senior bankers in this country to resign from positions of seniority after an awful lot of public anger, the fact that they were still staying in their jobs. They had huge bonuses. In the end, the financial regulator also had to go and acknowledge that the regulation of the banks here over the last decade or so was poor. But what reassurances can the Irish people get that the EU, if not the Irish government, so if the government actually doesn't really sort out our financial problems properly, what reassurances can we get that perhaps people like yourself in your portfolio might turn around and make sure that they do their sums correctly?
We have to do it together. It can't be thought of that only the European Commission can do the job. We badly need a cooperation, a full cooperation with the governments of the member states.
Can I just ask you, are you getting that full cooperation? Are you happy that the Irish government and that particularly the Minister for Finance is giving you all the information you require?
We had a fruitful meeting today, and we are never praising the day before it is evening. But having said that, we need to be aware that our sadness, yes, and the sadness is all over the place, so to say, but let's be constructive for the future. I am absolutely aware that we have to act together and that it can't be anymore like it was. There will be a new system with more regulation, with more supervision, with more awareness of those people who are in charge of banks and financial institutions. It can't be thought over that it is just taking a deep breath and then we can go back to...
Can you give us an idea, Commissioner, of how that regulation, a more rigorous EU-wide regulation, will be implemented in the future, and that we won't be reliant on just our own financial regulatory system here to ensure the same thing doesn't happen again in 10 or 15 or 20 years' time?
Well, the last point is indeed my biggest challenge, so to say, for this should be once in a lifetime. And I wouldn't dare to face my children and grandchild if we are not doing the job now properly. And we know what went wrong. We are aware what has to be done. Your own commissioner is just proposing new regulation. It will be accepted, hopefully, by the Council and by Parliament in the autumn. And the sooner, the better. And it should be quite clear that it can't be anymore that we are mixing up things that can't be mixed up. It should be transparent, it should be predictable, and it should be effective.